anything, anything. Hello, all my beautiful people. It's Courtney here. Now, I know I did not do a May TBR, but we're going to go to the May wrap up, and this is what it is, okay? Now, for May, I participated in a few readathons. Let's see where they were. I did the readathon. I got my little bingo card here. I also did Horror Mayhem. I did Southern Charm Readathon, and I participated, or I tried to participate in Springathon, but I don't think I really did. So we're just going to say I participated in 3 readathons, okay? I'm going to link all of the details of the host below, okay? So let's start with, let's do the Southern Charm Readathon, okay? So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 prompts, and I hit all of them, okay? So first prompt is an emotional, heartwarming book, and I read this one, right? RuPaul's Memoir. Don't even look like him, right? Anyway, I have a dedicated video about this. I'm gonna link it so you can go check it out. House of Hidden Meetings was a very interesting book. I love RuPaul. He's amazing. Let's see. Sweet Tea, which I love. A book with something sweet on the cover or a sweet story. Yasmin, the scientist, and she's learning things in school, trying to put together a science project. What's really cool is she is Pakistani, and there's like a Pakistani words in the back where you can do translations, and there's also a recipe for the science experiment that she did in here. I think it's exploding lemonade or something. But apparently Yasmin is like an entire series, okay? But really beautiful, cute little girl, and good messages about, you know, learning, and she has a whole series of different things. But check out Yasmin if you have like little kids. I think it'd be good books to incorporate into your children's, you know, library. And then we have Hot as Blazes, a book with a hot setting. Okay, y'all, sign here. Was not what I expected, and I actually forced myself to finish it. Not a book I would recommend. But it's this fantastical dark humor story about a guy who works in hell in the like deals department, you know, where people make a deal with the devil, right? Now he is on the cusp of something big if you can get 5 generations of a family to sign a deal to sell away their soul. But he grasps onto this one family, but not only do they have secrets, but so does this new person that he is training. But this book just had a lot going on. Like there's a lot of tangents about being a good person and about religion and about human nature. But I truthfully just lost interest like halfway through. And I was, you know, really bored, to be honest. But, you know, it is interesting to know that there are different levels of hell, but they're all sucky, okay? The next book is, Heavens to Betsy, a mystery or thriller. And for that, I read Lisa Jackson's The Last Sinner. Now this is also kind of not what I expected. For one, this is the 9th book of a series, the Ben's Ruben Montoya novel, which I didn't know that there was previous books prior to reading this. Otherwise, you know, I probably would not have. But it is a police procedural psychological novel about these guys that are on the tail of a serial killer that dresses as a priest and kills people with a rosary. And one of the detective's daughter, she starts getting stalked. And they're trying to figure out, is it the same person or is this somebody else? But either way, the person poses a danger. And she writes true crime, which I think is pretty interesting. But I thought that there was just a whole lot of redundancy in this book. Like, it's set in New Orleans, and they kept saying, well, anything goes in New Orleans. Anything, anything. Why are there so many serial killers that live around this lady too, by the way? She made a lot of dumb decisions for an adult, so that rubbed me the wrong way. And I also did not think this book was as bloody as I expected it to be. It has a really good premise when you look at the synopsis on the side of the book. I just think execution wise, I was a bit lacking. But I do like it's set in the South in New Orleans, so you get that flavor. And I will say that I did happen upon guessing of who the killer was. So kudos to me. Okay, let's see. What else we got? We got, All the Fixings, a book with multiple genre. Now, I read The Scourge Between Stars, which is like a sci-fi horror and is set in space. So you have this ship that's kind of like falling apart and the resources are definitely dwindling for the number of people that are on board. And everybody's looking for Earth or some Earth-like planet to deposit themselves. So you have this lady named Jacqueline who's in charge. And she's trying to avoid a mutiny aboard the ship between all the people, all these asteroids that keep hitting the ship, this short-circuiting android. And then something starts killing people and she got to figure out what in the world is going on. Now, I will say, of all the books I've read lately, I love the diversity of the people on this ship, like of the crew. It was very diverse, so I love that a lot. And I also like how strong-willed that the main character Jacqueline was. Yet she was still vulnerable, and that was really cool to see as well. You had a good mixture there. And the dad, y'all, ooh, he was cold-blooded. Okay, this book that was a shocker. That was a shocker. This book is worth reading just for that part alone. But overall, it was a quick read, and I really did enjoy this book. Let's see, we got, Chicken and Dumplings, a book you think will be a comfort read. Okay, we got the whole RuPaul memoir. Definitely very comforting, very positive guy. Hell yeah. Oh no, hey y'all. A book with more than one POV. We got Sign Here, you got a multiple in there. And you also have Howdy Partner. I say howdy a lot. A book featuring friendship and family. So we got this book here, Hemlock Island. Now, this is a horror novel about a group of friends who goes to this remote island to investigate some occultist type activity. And the one friend, Lainey, she's the owner, she believes that it is a prank, right? And then once they get there, all of these secrets starts coming out. There's some creepy stuff that happens. And she starts to think otherwise when she finds this talisman made of bones and intestines and stuff. So, what the hell's going on? Now, this book had some really good creep factors that I can imagine in movies and on TV. So kudos to author for that. I'm definitely not going to any remote spots, that's for sure. But I will say the friends going with her, I just can't, the reasoning behind it just got to me. I just didn't think that it was realistic. But the repeated talk about being the owner of like an Airbnb and people touching your stuff and not following the rules and breaking things and all that stuff, I could definitely imagine that, and I would get pissed because it's rude. Follow the rules, okay? But overall, I really did enjoy this book. It wasn't what I expected, especially at the ending, but it was still a good time. This was like a last-minute pickup book, but definitely worth it. And that is it for Southern Charm Readathon. Definitely enjoyed it. So for Horror Mayhem, I read a few books here, okay? So you have Hemlock Island, we already talked about. I'll kind of put The Last Sinner in there a little bit because there was some horrific elements, if you want to call it that. You had The Scourge Between Stars, such an interesting name, Between Stars. I also read this book called Black Sheep. Don't let this pink cover fool you. This is a cult horror psychological thriller, right? So you have this girl who is down on her luck. So she goes back to her estranged family to attend a wedding, right? Her family is definitely unique. It is a religious cult. And she realizes who her father really is and why everybody loves her so much. I don't want to give it away. But this definitely reminds me of a B-list movie, and you have a lot of shockers throughout the book. But I do think that the plot is somewhat predictable. There's a lot of, exploring about family identity and, mommy daddy issues and, finding your place in the world. But, it was okay, just not my favorite. I also read The Woods All Black, which is a horror historical novel set in 1920s Appalachia, where you have this trans male nurse who goes to this small town in order to do midwife services and vaccinations. So needless to say, people do not want this person in their town, and they don't make any qualms about making it known. Now, this town is run by this preacher, right? Everything that the preacher says goes. But Leslie, that's the nurse, is determined to try to help people. And then starts to realize there's a whole lot of sinister stuff at play in this town. Now, I personally had never seen a trans rep in the 1920s, but also in an Appalachian town. So I was really excited to read this book. I definitely think that it was unique. I think that the love scenes that happened were totally a waste of time. I think it kind of cheapened the book a bit, but I did like the talks about PTSD and how that's expressed from like wartime environments. Which also brings up the whole idea about if someone can serve in war and do their job effectively, then what does it matter what their gender or what identity they express? So very good conversation. And another topic that was highly expressed is about female empowerment in a time where female issues are not taken seriously and people would rather die than allow a female to get services, which accounted for a very high mortality rate during that time period. But really good book, really worth checking out for sure. Let's see, what else did I read? Oh, The Night Guest. Okay, so The Night Guest is a book that I got from NetGalley. It's a little horror novella. It's about a woman who goes to sleep at night, and when she wakes up, she's exhausted, like she's been running around. Then she gets one of those little pedometer watches, and it says, hey, you have walked 16,000 steps. Okay, you already know there's some stuff going on there. But very interesting book, how she explores that. I personally think Homegirl should have got a sleep study, okay? But it was eerie and it was creepy and it was a fun time. I think that the chapters at times were really short, like one sentence sometimes. So I think it was a waste of space, but if that's what the author wants to do, then so be it. But I did love the discussion about female body issues and how men don't take them serious and how women's roles are expected to make other people comfortable regardless of how they feel. Very good point. Good discussion. Anyway, that was a good book. Definitely love it. The pink cover is definitely deceiving. It's a good time. And what else did I read? I think that's about it for Horror Mayhem. And then I got my Readathin. So I kind of mix and match everything in this little bingo card. And I hit almost every single prompt on there. So instead of going through all of this, what I'll do is just talk about the books that I have not talked about thus far. So you have At Night All Blood is Black by David Diop. I know I'm not saying that right. Now, I will say that this book is spoiled for the most part on the back page, or I'm sorry, the front page, the synopsis, okay? It's psychological horror type or whatnot, but you have a chocolate, that's what they say, soldier, a brown soldier in this historical war, historical fiction, and his friend is killed, and he basically goes off the deep end and starts going to the enemy and bringing back hands, okay? So he gets sent from the front lines back to the rear, and he needs to get some help. Now, you would think this book is bloody, but it's not as bloody as I'd expected it to be. It centers more around PTSD of war and the effects of having been made to kill people, especially people you don't know, and how that affects soldiers. But my favorite line in this book is, "We are more than brothers because we chose each other." And I thought that was really beautiful. And what else do I have here? Ooh, this book is really good. Okay, so we have The Registration. So The Registration is psychological thriller, dystopian, political intrigue, torture, murder drama, reclaimed romance. Just a lot going on in this book. Oh, and it has some comedy too. I forgot about that. But in a nutshell, you have this future society where you're allowed to register to kill one person, no questions asked, no repercussions in your lifetime, right? Just once. So you have this 24-year-old named Linnell who goes to the registration office to put her stepdad on notice, and she hears her name being registered. Then as she runs away, and a few days later, she finds multiple people have registered her name. So she's trying to figure out, why the hell are all these people trying to kill me? I ain't done nothing bad. And I'll leave it at that. Now, I will say that this is not a YA book, but I think a lot of the actions that she makes scream YA all the way to me. It's very annoying, but it makes for some really fun interactions. I will say that I loved the actions in this book, especially a lot of the bloody stuff that goes on, because it shows that you have an author that is not afraid to have bad things happen to central characters, and I appreciate that inclusion in books. It keeps you on your toes as a reader. But I will say she bounced back really quickly. But overall, enjoyed the book. I like the characters, really strong personas. Okay, y'all, so we have this book, Your Shadow Hath Remains. What's funny about this book is I was at the library returning another book, and this was at the counter. I guess somebody else was returning it, and I was like, hey, can I have that book? This book kind of screams Bird Box to me. You know, the movie with Sandra Bullock. Except that if you look people in the eye, then you go on a murderous rage or you kill yourself. But it is a psychological horror suspense that keeps you on your toes the entire time. And you're trying to figure out, is this a non-reliable narrator? But I really did enjoy it, and it was a quick read. I also read The Greed Box, which is a horror novella that reminds me of the movie The Possession, you know, where the guy and the girl go to a yard sale and gets this box that, you know, is possessed and has sinister effects. Well, this one is about a little trinket box. But in this one, the guy is specifically told it has a sinister history and buys it anyway. So I think he gets everything that's coming to him. But it was quick, very suspenseful, and it was a really good time. And next I read this, Sex Criminals. Now this is a graphic novel, okay? Now my girl Jaleesa at Reading Beyond the Book Cover talked about this. So I'm like, okay, let me go ahead. The library have all these volumes. I picked them all up. They were all in stock. There's a reason, because people probably don't like this just like I didn't. I read one, barely finished it, and I returned all the other ones back, okay? So this one is a graphic novel about a couple who utilizes their ability to freeze time during sex in order to commit all of these crimes. And then they find that they're not alone in this ability to freeze time and have to answer for their actions. But I just don't think it's as interesting as it sounds. I just felt that there was too many timelines and time jumps throughout the book. But I did enjoy the comedy. I mean, that was at least something redeeming, but let me know if y'all read this and liked it, okay? But I stopped at one. I wasn't gonna continue. And the last two books that I read is Julian is a Mermaid and Julian at the Wedding. And these are little picture books about this, you know, special little boy named Julian who, you know, is his own unique self and admires women in his life. And he has a very a strong-willed and supportive abuela, and I think it's very beautiful. So in this one, he is going to a pool or something and sees some people dressed as mermaids and wants to be like it. Or no, he's on a train and sees some people dressed like mermaids and wants to be like them. And here he goes to a wedding and he has interaction with this cute little girl and stuff. But anyway, really good book. I think they're on the banned book for you know, gender identity, stuff like that. And I lied. I did read another book called Black Shield Maiden. That's the book by Willow Smith and her friend Jess Handel. I did a video for this. It came out earlier in the week, so go ahead and check it out. I'm going to link it below. Really good, epic, historical novel there. So that is it. Oh, no, actually, May has been so busy, y'all. This is like a very long video. I finished this diamond painting here. It is a cow in a pail with some cowboy boots. I feel like you can't see that as much with this particular diamond paintings. Not my favorite, so I'm on to something else. Anyway, let me get out of here. Like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see y'all later, okay? Bye, y'all.